Hello there, you're watching Nightline. I'm Anita. The headlines. King hopes for no more new PMs before end of his tenure. And 830 school buildings found in need of repairs or replacement. We begin with our headlining story. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah shared that he did not intend to interfere with the country's political affairs, nor to arrange or influence the political landscape. His Majesty said he was performing the duties entrusted as he had taken an oath to be true and loyal, to perform with fairness and rule the country in accordance with the federal law and constitution.
Kita tidak berniat untuk mencampuri urusan politik negara, apatah lagi untuk mengatur percaturan lanskap politik tanah air. Dan pada pengamatan beta secara peribadi, jika episod yang membawa kepada peletakan jawatan Perdana Menteri ke-7 tidak berlaku, nescaya rentaian kemelut politik yang berlarutan sehingga kepada pilihan raya umum ke-15 juga akan dapat dielakkan.
During his royal address for the first meeting of the second term of the 15th Parliament sitting, Al-Sultan Abdullah said the political crisis that happened for almost 4 years could have been prevented if the MPs and politicians in the country had been able to set aside their differences and unite solely on the basis of protecting the country and its people's interests. The King said the consensus reached among party leaders of the unity government allows the government to generate economic growth that guarantees the well-being of the people as well as create political stability. After overseeing multiple changes of prime ministers during his stint as Yang di-Pertuan Agong, Al-Sultan Abdullah also expressed hope that Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim will be the last under his reign and that the current government will remain until the end of its term. Al-Sultan Abdullah also advised politicians to stop seeking compliments, to respect the August House and to serve the people honestly. Meanwhile, Al-Sultan Abdullah has welcomed the aim to transform Malaysia into a high-income nation through the empowerment of the role played by the private sector as well as the micro, small and medium enterprises. To this end, His Majesty said the provision of infrastructure and access to digital services must continue to be enhanced in line with the National Entrepreneurship Policy 2030.
Bagi mendepani cabaran ini, beta mengalu-alukan usaha untuk membendung isu ketirisan dana awam, termasuk inisiatif untuk mempercepat dan memastikan mekanisme pemberian subsidi bersasar mencapai matlamatnya dengan lebih berkesan. Bagi memudayakan integriti dan memperkukuh tadbir urus, beta menghargai komitmen serta tekad kerajaan beta untuk membanteras rasuah secara agresif dengan menumpukan kepada aspek perolehan, penguatkuasaan dan rasuah berskala besar.
Al-Sultan Abdullah said the government is sensitive towards the plight of the people amid rising global inflation, the ringgit's weakness against the US dollar and the post-COVID-19 pandemic recovery phase. His Majesty said, in this regard, the government will continue to take steps to ease the burden on breeders, farmers and food producers, following the continuous rise in production costs, so that the country's food production and food security continues to be at an optimal level. Al-Sultan Abdullah also expressed the need for the government to emphasize the aspect of physical security through disaster risk management for the security and survival of the people. His Majesty said that a more systematic and strategic approach should be immediately implemented by the government to address the effects of natural disasters, especially the floods that occur every year. Al-Sultan Abdullah said the landslide in Batangkali, Selangor, which occurred on December 16th last year, should be a lesson to prevent a similar incident, adding that the time has come to ensure the effectiveness of the disaster management mechanism through efficient work coordination. Earlier, Al-Sultan Abdullah arrived at the Parliament Square at 10 a.m, accompanied by Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Hajah Aziza Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria. Their Majesties were greeted by Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim and his wife, Datin Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail. Also present were the two Deputy Prime Ministers, Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof, Dewan Rakyat Speaker Datuk Johari Abdul, as well as Senate President Tan Sri Dr. Rais Yatim. Al-Sultan Abdullah and Tunku Azizah were then ushered to the royal stage to receive the royal salute mounted by the 1st Battalion of the Royal Malay Regiment. The royal flag was then hoisted, accompanied by a 21-gun salute and then the national anthem, Negaraku, before Al-Sultan Abdullah inspected the Guard of Honour. According to the Parliament calendar, the Dewan Rakyat will sit from February 13th to March 30th, while the Senate will sit from March 21st till April 6th. The Education Ministry, MOE, has identified a total of 830 schools as having buildings that require replacement or redevelopment as of January 31st. The ministry said it was committed to providing a safe and conducive education infrastructure for the use of students and school staff across the country. The MOE in a statement on Monday said it would prioritise the replacement of school buildings that are on Scale 6 and Scale 7 according to the impact grade score analysis. The statement also read the number of dilapidated buildings is dynamic and in line with the completion of the implementation of redevelopment and the acceptance of the building security levels recommended by technical agencies. The ministry also expressed its appreciation to Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim for his concern in giving priority to the issue of dilapidated schools. According to the MOE, Scale 6 refers to buildings that are unsafe and with confirmation by the District Education Office and the State Education Department, while Scale 7 refers to unsafe buildings with confirmation by the Public Works Department. On Sunday, Education Minister Fadlina Siddiq in a statement said that the development of dilapidated schools nationwide will be implemented in phases, and the most important phase would be after the tabling of Budget 2023 on February 24th. This was following an earlier statement by Datuk Seri Anwar, who said that the government's focus was to quickly solve the problem of dilapidated schools throughout Malaysia for the welfare of the children, as well as to improve the quality of education in the country. Residents in rural areas and micro-entrepreneurs are encouraged to use more electronic or e-payment facilities compared to conventional payment modes. Bank Negara Malaysia BNM Deputy Governor Datuk Marzuni Syam Omar said that in the current digital world, cashless payment methods provide various benefits which can save time and effort when conducting transactions.
Di kawasan luar Madak itulah sedang meningkat dan kita akan terus turun padang untuk memastikan peningkatan yang lebih tinggi lagi. Salah satu usaha kita ialah untuk meningkatkan juga dari segi awareness, dari segi pengumuman pengajaran kepada orang ramai supaya cara-cara untuk menggunakan e-pembayaran secara selamat.
Datuk Marzuni Syam said this to the media after launching the E-Duit Desa program in Kedah on Monday. He also reiterated that the BNM and banking institutions are always committed to ensuring increased use of e-payment among the public. According to him, more consumers and merchants have started to familiarise themselves using various e-payment facilities during the COVID-19 pandemic. He added that e-payment could also be a stepping stone for merchants to become more competitive as transactions can be recorded directly, which helps facilitate account management and loan applications in the future. The government is considering expanding the Rahmah initiative to not only the food industry but also the corporate and banking sectors. Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Datuk Seri Salahuddin Ayub said the government received a lot of positive feedback on the initiative through engagement sessions with the food and clothes industry operators. And he believes that it would be the same with the corporate and banking sectors.
Kalau kita pergi nanti kepada sektor-sektor korporat yang lebih besar, Petronas sebagai contoh, Saim Dabi, GLCs dan juga bank-bank, saya yakin lebih banyak lagi mereka ini ataupun syarikat-syarikat ini yang akan tampil untuk membantu.
Datuk Sri Salahuddin said this to the media after officiating the RMA Menu by the Muslim Restaurant Owners Association Malaysia at Stadium Nasi Kandar restaurant in Kuala Lumpur on Monday. He stated that his ministry still had a period of 4 months to conduct engagement sessions with the corporate and banking sectors. On those who predicted that the RMA Menu initiative could only be sustained for 3 months, he said they did not set any key performance indicators, KPIs, for this matter. The RMA Menu initiative, which offers meals at RM5 and below, was launched in January as a government effort to reduce living costs. The implementation of this initiative did not involve any allocation of expenses from the government, but was a commitment fully by businesses participating voluntarily. Sarawak can achieve its target of earning RM6 billion from timber and timber product exports by 2030 by having a well-structured timber industry as well as highly skilled and trained local furniture designers. In order to boost the growth of the industry, Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg called on local designers to be more innovative and to go beyond conventional furniture designs.
Now is 44 million. Can you reach up to 6 billion for the next 7 years? You have a dream. That is your dream. And we have to upgrade the technology as well as the creativity of our human capital. If other countries can transform leapfrog, I'm sure our young designers can do it.
He said this to the media at the launch of Sarawak Design Week in Kuching on Monday. According to Tan Sri Abang Johari, Sarawak is taking a serious approach in its efforts to transform the timber industry to be more sustainable, as well as produce furniture products for the export market, which will contribute to the state's economy. We're going for a short break, and when we return, former Indonesian police general sentenced to death over murder plot. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Still on Nightline. Another small-scale Malaysian field hospital is expected to be set up in Turkey to provide humanitarian aid to earthquake victims. Army Chief General Tan Sri Zamroz Mohammad Zain said a team would be mobilised soon to identify a suitable location for the field hospital.
Bila balik nanti kita akan brief di mana lokasi dia, what are the logistic system, apa bantuan yang perlu kita bantu, berapa ramai population yang perlu kita bantu. So, recce element ni penting untuk kita plan untuk bergerak.
He said this to the media after launching the 90th Army Day celebration in Port Dickson on Monday. General Tan Sri Zamroz also did not rule out the possibility of deploying more soldiers to assist in the search and rescue operation in Turkey if necessary. Presently, the Malaysian Armed Forces had deployed 110 personnel to set up a field hospital in Turkey to provide medical services to earthquake victims in the country, and it is expected to be operational by Wednesday. Meanwhile, a week after the devastating earthquake hit Turkey and Syria, United Nations Aid Chief Martin Griffiths on Monday signalled that the earthquake's rescue phase is coming to a close, with urgency now switching to providing shelter, food, schooling and psychosocial care. With hopes of finding many more survivors in the rubble fast fading, the combined death toll in both countries from the 7.8 magnitude tremor has topped 36,000 on Monday. So far, 31,643 fatalities have been reported in Turkey and more than 5,000 people have died in Syria. UN warned that the toll is set to rise higher as experts caution that hopes for finding people alive dim with each passing day. The quake is now the sixth deadliest natural disaster this century, behind the 2005 tremor that killed at least 73,000 in Pakistan. More news on the foreign front. An Indonesian court has sentenced former National Police Internal Affairs Chief Verdi Sambo to death on Monday for the premeditated murder of his own bodyguard, Nofriansha Yosua Huta Barat, bringing to a close a high-profile scandal that has thrust the country's police force into the spotlight over alleged impunity and corruption. South Jakarta District Court concluded that the 49-year-old former Internal Affairs chief was legally and convincingly guilty of masterminding the killing of his junior officer on July 8, 2022, and attempting to cover up his crime by ordering closed-circuit television evidence to be destroyed. Sambo's sentence was heavier than the life imprisonment sought by prosecutors. In sentencing, presiding judge Wahyu Iman Santoso said aggravating factors included the fact that he had killed his own subordinate, who had worked for him for 3 years, and that the death had caused deep sorrow to the victim's family. Sambo has a week to appeal the verdict. China on Monday rejected the US's decision to blacklist 6 Chinese entities it said were linked to Beijing's aerospace programs as part of its retaliation over an alleged Chinese spy balloon that traversed US airspace. At a daily briefing in Beijing on Monday, China once again defended the airship's entry into the US airspace as an accidental incident and said the US downing the balloon with force has escalated the tension. Accusing the US of further hyping the incident and making it a pretext to sanction Chinese entities, China has warned that they would take necessary measures to safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of the enterprises and institutions. The move is likely to further aggravate the diplomatic row between the US and China sparked by the balloon, with the incident even prompting Secretary of State Antony Blinken to abruptly cancel a trip to Beijing aimed at easing tensions. Israeli troops killed a Palestinian during an arrest raid in the occupied West Bank on Monday, while airstrikes hit the Gaza Strip following a weekend rocket launch from the enclave. Israeli army said it had struck an underground complex used for the manufacturing of rockets belonging to the Hamas group. The strikes were launched in response to the Saturday rocket, reportedly launched from Gaza into Israel. Meanwhile, Israeli forces have killed a young Palestinian man during a raid in the West Bank city of Nablus. Palestinian media later identified the victim as 21-year-old Amir Bustami. Nearly 150 Palestinians were killed last year in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, making it the deadliest period in those areas since 2004. back with sports now. Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh has strongly condemned the racial and religious remarks made by a former Badminton Association of Malaysia, BAM backup player, on social media recently. Although the former player has since apologised, Hannah said she totally disagreed with the remarks made by the individual, who was under the auspices of BAM in 2014 and is now reportedly not residing in Malaysia. In a Twitter post on Monday, Hannah said she believed that religious worship has never interfered with the performance of athletes in sports, adding that it had never been a problem in the country. She also reiterated her stand that sports must be free from any racial and political elements and advised all national athletes to be more cautious with their respective social media content, as they were a source of inspiration for the people. Meanwhile, BAM in a Facebook post also condemned the disgusting racist comments posted by the former player, who is apparently coaching in China at the moment. The association said they were appalled and will pursue the issue, including sending an official complaint to the Chinese Badminton Association to urge them to take action against the individual. On Saturday, the former player claimed in a video that the performance of the national players at the Malaysian Open 2023 was not up to the mark because BAM was managed by Malays, besides touching on the sensitivities of Muslims. On to football. River Plate came back from a goal down to beat Argentinos Juniors 2-1 in the Argentina Primera Division on Sunday. Kevin McAllister found the back of the net as his header came off Miguel Angel Torrens' curling free kick to put the visitors ahead going into the break. Colombian striker Miguel Borja put River on level terms after the restart by converting a penalty after Enzo Perez was brought down by Gabriel Avalos. The hosts took the lead in the 71st minute when Ezequiel Barco converted another penalty following McAllister's handball. The result leaves River fourth in the 2018 standings with 6 points from 3 outings, a point behind leader Huracan. Argentinos Juniors are 19th with just 3 points. Still on football, Elias Khiri scored twice as Cologne beat Eintracht Frankfurt 3-0 in the Bundesliga on Sunday. After a goalless first half, Cologne broke the deadlock after Timo Ubers headed in the opener in the 49th minute. Khiri doubled their lead with another header before he put the match beyond Frankfurt's reach with a third 4 minutes from time. It was Frankfurt's first league defeat since October and ended a 7-match unbeaten run in the competition. Frankfurt are now 6th in the standings on 35 points. Coming up shortly after this break, thief nabbed after 30-kilometre high-speed chase. This and more right after this break. Welcome back, still on Nightline. The federal court has reinstated the fine of 10,000 ringgit imposed by the Advocates and Solicitors Disciplinary Board against Sungai Assemblyman and former lawyer A.C. Vanesan for professional misconduct when representing a man in the industrial court 13 years ago. This followed a decision by a 3-member panel to allow the appeals by the Malaysian Bar and K. Padmanathan. The fine, however, does not disqualify Sivanesan, who is also a Perak State Executive Council, from continuing to hold his State Assembly seat, as it was not imposed pursuant to a criminal offence. On June 13, 2016, Padmanathan filed a complaint against Sivanesan after the industrial court struck off his claim for unfair dismissal due to his absence in court. He claimed, among others, that Sivanesan failed to inform him of the hearing date. The court also awarded 20,000 ringgit costs to Padmanathan. In Selangor, a robbery suspect who led police on a 30-kilometre dramatic car chase from Banting to Klang failed to evade capture when he was arrested around Port Klang on Sunday. South Klang Police Chief Cha Hong Fong said this on Monday in response to a viral video of a gunfire incident near Kampung Pendama. In a statement, he confirmed that a team from the Selangor Criminal Investigation Department was involved in a high-speed chase with a 31-year-old suspect who is believed to be involved in several robberies in Subang Jaya. Cha added that the suspect was driving recklessly and had hit several vehicles while trying to escape in the incident at about 7 p.m. The police team, who were fast on his heels, were forced to fire several shots to deter him from fleeing the scene and injuring bystanders. He was eventually arrested in the vicinity of Jalan Kem, Port Klang. In a video shared on social media earlier, the suspect was seen running towards a car while being chased by a plainclothed officer holding what was believed to be a gun. Cha also said the suspect, who possessed several drug and criminal records, had been handed over to the Subang Jaya Police Headquarters for further investigation over the robbery cases. Authorities have also opened investigation papers under the Penal Code for attempted murder. Over in Kelantan, a police corporal was charged in the Kota Bharu Sessions Court with 2 counts of smuggling 29 Myanmar migrants last January. However, no plea was recorded from Syed Shaiful Amri Syed Solihuddin, aged 38, after the charges against him were read out before Judge Muhammad Zul Zakikuddin Zulkifli, as the case was under the High Court's jurisdiction. On the first count, he was charged with smuggling 13 Myanmar nationals, comprising 7 men and 6 women, in Tunjung at 1:30 a.m. on January 16th. On the second count, he was accused of smuggling another 15 men and a woman from Myanmar at 9:45 a.m. on the same date. The charges were framed under the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act, which carries a minimum sentence of 5 years in jail or life imprisonment and whipping if convicted. Huge and colourful allegorical floats finally returned to the famous Viareggio Carnival. After 2 years of COVID-19 restrictions, the 150th anniversary year of the parade is back in its full glory on the streets of the Tuscan seaside town. Let's have a look at this festival as we wrap up Nightline this time around. With that, I'm Anita. Thank you for watching and be well, Malaysia.